Tommy John joining us now. Tommy, how are you?
Dan, I'm doing fine. It's good to hear your voice.
What was the surgery called before it was Tommy John surgery?
Was never done before Tommy John surgery.
No one.
Tommy John was the pilgrim coming over on the Mayflower. Actually, I take that back. It was called the Keith Olbermann surgery.
Oh. Oh, man.
And I'll tell you, had it been the Olbermann surgery, he'd have had that sucker trademarked, and he'd be sitting down in Maui now, resting on the beach someplace.
Did you trademark Tommy John surgery?
No. We looked into it, and I don't know. There's some legalese. I mean, if you can trademark three-peat, why couldn't you trademark Tommy John surgery?
Did you know at the time what you were going through with this procedure?
No. I just trusted and believed Dr. Job when he told me that you don't need the surgery, Tommy, but if you don't have it, you'll never pitch Major League Baseball again. We've tried resting. We've tried rehabbing. It's not going to work. And I said, okay, that's 0 chances in 100. What if I have the surgery? He said, I can't guarantee you much of anything. He said, maybe 2-3 chances, less than 5. He said, if I would say 50-50, I'd be lying to you. And Dr. Job was a friend first and a surgeon second, and I knew that he wouldn't BS me. So I said, okay, if I don't have the surgery, I'll never pitch. If I have it, I might have a chance to pitch. And my words to him, which is what my foundation is called, is let's do it. I said, let's do it. Let's get it done.
And you were 30 or 31 at the time?
31 years old, yeah. I had 11 years in the big leagues. And, I mean, I was no spring chicken. And actually the thing, I had some accomplishments in my major league career, but the one that I'm most proud of is after surgery, I did not miss a start.
Wow. Well,
and I don't think anybody can say that in this day and age. I mean, those guys will miss a start if they have postnasal drip.
But why is it so common now that these pitchers don't even think twice about Tommy John surgery?
Well, I think it's like tonsillectomy. You go in, you go, oh, I have my tonsils out, boom, and you go. They aren't afraid of it anymore, and the surgery has become so refined, so perfected, that I don't know, there's a 90-some% chance of success. But I really believe, Dan, that sports, high school sports, little league sports, have become year-round. And they force these kids at a very young age to pick a sport, and that's the only sport that they play, they train at. And you have these workout facilities that Jim Jensen or whomever, let's say, he pitched minor league ball for whatever, and he's got this pitching academy, and your kid comes in and pays him $2-3 grand, and you go in every Saturday and you work on pitching. Well, and I tell parents this. If the best pitchers in the world don't pitch year-round, why should your kid pitch year-round? You have to let Dr. Job, Dr. Yoakum, Dr. Andrews, Dr. Elatraj, Dr. Krimchek, all these great surgeons that do Tommy John surgery or did Tommy John surgeries, they cringe when you say year-round pitching because you must let the arm rest. But parents buy into the BS that their kid's going to be on the travel team, their kid's going to make this, their kid's going to be a star in high school, they're going to go to college, they're going to be the next Steven Strasburg. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. But they're duped.
He's Tommy John, former Major League pitcher, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Explain what is Tommy John surgery.
It's basically what Dr. Job used to call it when he was doing his talks is ulnar collateral ligament replacement surgery with the palmaris longus tendon. The palmaris longus tendon is a tendon that attaches in the palm of your hand.
Thank God you came along for Tommy John to shorten it.
Well, that's what he said. He was all this big, long words, and he said, the surgery I did on Tommy John. The surgery I did on Tommy John. And then in some of his talks, he said, to Tommy John surgery. And then all of a sudden, that stuck. It's like a nickname. When you're a little kid, your parents name you some atrocious name, and it sticks with you, and you have it for the rest of your life. So I'm stuck with Tommy John surgery.
Do people ask to see your scar?
A lot of people do. I was in some golf tournaments, and they'll come up and they'll say, "Can I see the scar?" And if you look at the scar today, it's about half the length of mine. Mine is about 8 inches long, and you can barely see it. Dr. Job, it's a real fine scar. Now these scars are about 3 inches, 4 inches long, and maybe a half an inch wide. They're really gnarly looking, but they don't need to open the joint up as wide as Dr. Job needed to, because as he told me, he said, "I got to have these doctors in with me because I don't know what I'm doing. I need good surgeons to guide my hands."
Do you feel bad for Brent Strom a little bit, the guy who had Tommy John surgery right after you? So it could have been the Brent Strom surgery?
Not at all. Stromy has a dog academy out in Tucson, Arizona, and he raises dogs to sell, and so it's called Brent Strom Dog Surgery.
I got an email from a sports writer in Dayton, Mark Katz, who said a guy named Ron Nischwitz. Is that sound?
Yeah.
That he was going to have the Tommy John surgery. So it could have been the Ron Nischwitz surgery instead of Tommy John. He was going to do it before you, but opted not to.
Ron Nischwitz and I were teammates in the minor leagues. And Ron was the baseball coach at Wright State.
Yeah.
And very, very, very good man, very good man. And, it's like Lasorda said, thank God it wasn't Billy Grabarkowitz that had it. He said, who would want to say that?
Billy G. Now, you played for Billy Martin and Tommy Lasorda?
Yeah, sure did.
Okay, the biggest difference between those two?
Oh, well, I can't say on TV here because we would get cut off. Billy was not a nice person. I felt Billy was a bigot. If I felt he didn't like Reggie, and he didn't like a lot of guys that he was just not a nice person.
He didn't like minorities.
I won't say yes or no, but I'll just say that a lot of guys that were of that extraction, he didn't like. But he was a good manager. He was a very good manager. Lasorda, you could manage the game better. Gene Mock was a great manager of the game. This and that, pitch hitting here. Tommy would get crazy when he would do this stuff, but Tommy was the best motivator of people I have ever seen in my life. He made you want to come to the ballpark every day and play baseball. When I managed in the minor leagues, and all people asked me how I was going to manage, and I said, like Tommy Lasorda, I want to make it fun at the ballpark, that you come to the ballpark and you look forward to coming. Billy, you would come to the ballpark and you go, oh, God, what's going to happen today? What drama?
Yeah. Would you ever consider donating your arm to the Hall of Fame after you're gone?
No, we talked about, I have the original cast, and we talked about donating that, but my agent is talking to the Smithsonian Institute. They're going to do something on surgeries, et cetera, but I have the cast, and it's signed by the 1974 Dodgers, so it's got Lasorda and Walt Alston. It even has Danny Murtaugh's name on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did Murtaugh then go to the Pirates, or was he?
No, Murtaugh was managing the Pirates,
yeah.
And Dr. Job and I flew from L.A. to Pittsburgh to watch the Dodger Pittsburgh playoff game, and I dressed out, but you had to ask, because you're not on the roster, you had to ask the opposing manager if you could sit on the bench, and he looked at my cast and he said two things: I'll let you sit. One, you don't go out on the field if there's a fight and hit guys with your cast. And secondly, I'll let you sit if you let me sign your cast. And I said, sure, and he signed his cast. He was a great, great guy. He looked like that old Irish father, that you like to sit down and spill your guts out to.
Always good to catch up with you, Tommy. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
All right, Tommy John. And he's got a foundation, Let's Do It.